There's a strange kind of pain that begins after someone is already gone. You wake up, you make coffee, you go to work, you laugh with your friends, and somehow, your mind finds its way back to them. Not because you want it to. Sometimes you don't even miss them. You remember what they said, the way they looked at you, the last conversation, the moment everything changed. And then you catch yourself wondering, why am I still thinking about someone who hurt me? Maybe you've asked yourself that question more times than you'd like to admit, because logically, it doesn't make sense. If someone treated you badly, why would your mind keep bringing them back? If the relationship ended, why doesn't your brain simply accept that it's over? And why can one person occupy so much space in your mind, even when they occupy almost none of your life anymore? The answer isn't necessarily that you still love them, and it isn't necessarily that they were your soulmate. Sometimes something much more ordinary is happening. Your mind is trying to finish a story that never got a proper ending. Imagine someone named Maya. Maya had been seeing someone for almost a year. At first, everything felt effortless. They talked every night, they knew each other's routines, they had inside jokes, small habits that slowly became part of everyday life. Then things started changing. Replies became shorter. Plans became uncertain. The warmth disappeared. Maya noticed it, but she kept telling herself it was temporary. Maybe he was stressed. Maybe she was overthinking. Maybe things would go back to normal. Then one night, they had an argument. It wasn't even their biggest argument, but something about it felt different. He said he needed space. A few days later, the relationship was over. No real explanation, no satisfying conversation, no moment where everything suddenly made sense. Just over. At first, Maya felt devastated, then angry, then strangely okay. A few weeks passed. She started getting back into her routine. She saw friends, she worked, she laughed again. And then one night, completely out of nowhere, she remembered something tiny. A song, a stupid inside joke, the way he used to pronounce a certain word. And suddenly, she was thinking about him again. She opened her phone, stopped, put it down, then picked it up again. Not because she wanted to text him, she didn't. She just wanted to understand. What happened? Why did he change? Was any of it real? Did she miss something? And that last question is where things become interesting. Because sometimes, the person isn't the thing your mind is trying to solve. The unanswered question is. When something emotionally important happens, your brain doesn't store it like a simple file. You don't experience an event, save it, and move on. Emotion, memory, attention, expectation, and meaning all become connected. And when an experience feels unresolved, your attention can return to it. Again and again. You replay the conversation. You imagine what you could have said. You remember what they said. You construct alternative endings. You ask questions that don't have answers. What if I had noticed earlier? What if I had acted differently? What if they still cared? What was I to them? And eventually, thinking becomes a habit. Not necessarily because the person is uniquely important, but because your mind has learned that this subject still feels unfinished. Think about it this way. If you watch a movie and the final 20 minutes are missing, you don't simply forget the movie. Your mind wants to know how it ends. Who was responsible? What was the point? What happens next? The missing ending becomes the part you think about most. Relationships can sometimes leave you with the psychological equivalent of an unfinished ending, especially when the ending was confusing, sudden, contradictory, or emotionally painful. If citing a specific scientific finding about memory consolidation, intrusive thoughts, rumination, or unresolved goals, Verify the exact claim and source before publication. And this is one reason simply telling yourself, "Stop thinking about them," usually isn't very effective. Because now you're not only thinking about the person, you're also monitoring yourself for thinking about the person. You remember them. You notice you're remembering them. You get frustrated. You try harder to stop. And suddenly, they're back again. But there's another layer. Sometimes what you miss isn't the person. It's the version of yourself that existed around them. Maybe you felt wanted. Maybe you felt understood. Maybe you were more spontaneous. Maybe you imagined a future. Maybe you liked who you thought you were becoming. So when the relationship ends, you're not only losing another person, you're losing